Hello guys. Today I will be talking about React testing using Jest and React testing library. So the most common way to test React is by using Jest with Enzyme or Jest with React testing library. And now you guys might wonder, so what is Jest and what is Enzyme or React testing library and how are they different? So let me explain to you guys a little bit about the Jest, Enzyme, and React testing library. So Jest was created by Facebook, who also created React. And so when you install Create React app, Jest comes in as a default testing library, so you don't need to install Jest at all. And Enzyme was first introduced by Airbnb in 2015, and it used to be the most popular testing library for React. And React testing library was first introduced in 2018, so it is very new. And it claims itself as a simple and complete React DOM testing utilities that encourage good testing practices and very lightweight solution for testing React components. So then what's the main difference between Enzyme and React testing library? So to be honest, I myself haven't really tried Enzyme, so I can't really say this from my experience, but when I did search on comparison between Enzyme and React testing library, many people said that when writing tests, Enzyme is more focused on the implementation, whereas React testing library is more focused on the user behavior. And this is actually the video that I've come across while preparing for the workshop, and as you guys can see, it is clearly different when using Enzyme and React testing library. So when you use Enzyme, it's going to be more developer side, I guess. So because you write test with whether checking its state is true or false, whereas in React testing library, it's whether user sees a button that says click me, so we will simulate event that user clicks the click me button, and then it will show you how the browser changes. So it is more user friendly. It is more user behavior friendly. And now I will demonstrate how to test using React testing library. So this is the React app that I created, and this is the button component. But here I'm not going to put button yet, but I will eventually. But here I just want to test whether this text that I put in as prop correctly shows on the browser or not. So here is my button component, and I also made a CSS file, so let me just import that as well for the later. Actually, there's a test that's running when I was trying to prepare for the workshop, so let me just kill it. Yep. And now here I'm going to write my test. So when writing test, first we have to import few things, and first is import React, because we are using React component to test. That's why we need to import React from React. And then we also have to import this render from React testing library as well. And actually, you can install React testing library by using this in your command line. However, when I checked package.json, I noticed that React testing library was included in dependencies. So I don't know if React has made changes in its latest React app, whether they included this as the default or not. But if you need to install it, then you can do it by using this command. Anyways, so now I will start writing my test. So the title for my test, oh, and I also need to import the button as well because that's what we're testing. Button. Yep. So the title of the test is going to be shows text. And then we are going to use this query utilities by React testing library called get by test ID. And then by using render, we are going to render our components. And then I'm going to pass hello as a text prop. And one thing really cool about React testing library is, no, not text ID, it's test ID, is that it has a special attribute called data test ID. And it comes in really handy because in real life, when you test with using its class name, there might be a time you're going to have to change its class name and then your whole test is going to break. However, with React testing library, you can pass in this special attribute and you know it's not going to change. So there's less likely chance of your test to break in the future. So now I'm going to just put in test ID as its test ID. And then here I will expect get by test ID, which I'm looking for is test ID dot to have text content hello. And now I will run the test. Hopefully it passes. What have I done? So I just delete this for now. And now here you can see our test passed. Just let me double check it. Yep, it passed. And now I'm going to add hook into my button component. Now I'm going to correctly import my CSS file as well. So to use hook, I need to import use state from React. And here I'll say printed text and set printed text to use state and here I'll pass in text. So now I'm going to have to change this text to printed text, and I will also create a button which will have click me inside. And also I'm going to pass a function which I'm going to create here called change text, and then when this function runs I will set printed, I will change printed text to have to say hey you clicked, and here in button on click I will put this function inside. So whenever user clicks this button, I want my printed text to change from whatever the text prop that I put into hey you clicked. And then I will also put another test data test ID, which will be button. Okay, and now I'm going to check whether my button works properly or not. And to do this, I have to import another query utility called fire event, and we also want to import cleanup as well. And because for each test, whenever we want to render our React tree to a DOM element attached to document, so whenever the test ends, we have to clean up and unmount the tree from the document, or else it's going to mess up our future test. There's a chance. So after each, we want to clean up our DOM tree. Okay. Now I'm going to make its name shows changes text when button is clicked. Will be the name of our test. And here, let's see. Now this time I'm going to use something get by text, and then I'm going to just copy from here and paste it. And I also want to get by test ID as well. And then fire event dot click. So what this fire event is going to do, it's gonna work as if a user clicked the button. So fire event click get by text, which will have click me. So as you can see, it's a very so it's focused on the user behavior, because when our user sees the browser, our user is going to click the button where it says click me in it. And then we will expect get by test ID which is test ID to have text content hey you clicked. So what this button is going to do is when user clicks this button, it's going to change this printed text, which is inside this H2 tag that has test ID of test ID. Now let's see if this works. So our test is running right now. Yeah, and as you can see, it passed. So our button is going to work. So now let me go to the app and see if it really works. So here I'm going to import button from button.js, and here and now if we check our localhost, as you can see, there's our button component, and if I click this button, the text changes, and we know it's going to work because it passed our test. And now I'm going to change this code a little bit, and then I'm actually going to use set timeout. And then I'm also going to see if our code is going to work when it's happening asynchronously. So after 1000 milliseconds, and our test is going to fail, because when you look at our test, it expects immediately the printed text to change itself to hey, you clicked. However, because it's not going to happen for another 1000 milliseconds, our test is going to fail. However, we can fix this by importing something called wait for element, and then we can actually use async function to work this out. So here we will fire event click apply text, so it's not going to change. However, after, it's very similar to writing async function. You're going to make a variable called printed text to equal or wait for element, and then inside we're going to wait for element and then get by text. So after waiting, we are going to check if there's in our browser, if there's something with the text that says hey, you clicked, and then we will expect printed text to be in the document. Not failed. Let me see. Oh, it's because we don't have this exclamation mark, I think. And as you can see, it passed the test. So now we know our set button with the set timeout is also going to work in our browser. And here, if I click this button, after 1000 milliseconds, you see it changes. So this is all I prepared for the workshop. and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.